I've never found a love like this. There it is. I've never found a love like this.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. I hope you're having a good Monday. Also, happy Halloween wherever you are on this planet. West Ham never failed to surprise me, and David Moyes yesterday never failed to surprise me. I've been sort of thinking about this over the last sort of 24 hours, and for me, I'm seeing different people saying different things about yesterday that we deserved a point at the game. And I look at it, we had a good 10, 15-minute spell towards the back end of the game. Yeah, I will openly say that West Ham were very, very good. But for 75 minutes of that game, we were shy, to say the least, and not good at all. And if people are thinking that we're going to get basically points or save points with 15-minute spells in games, then they've got another thing coming, in my opinion. For me, when I look at David Moyes, I do like what he's done at West Ham. Don't get me wrong. I think he's done a lot of good things very, very well at West Ham. I think he's helped us on our way to get us out of a moment that is borderline shocking. Yeah, when he first arrived, and he galvanised us through COVID. Obviously, we played amazing through that COVID era, and I'll be honest, I was quite surprised how well West Ham did play. But we moved on, and we ended up finishing sixth in the league when we should have really finished fourth. Really, if we was to go back and look at them games that we sort of give away towards the back end of that season, we should have finished fourth. Last season, same thing again. We should have finished sixth. We ended up finishing seventh. Now, I look at the present day. What is doing me, and this is why I put the link in the chat, so if anyone does want to come on and have their say, they can do, is basically where does this sort of emerge with Moyes, right? For me, I look at it like this. With David Moyes, I respect the man. I respect what he's done at West Ham. I like what he's done at West Ham. But he's very stubborn in the way he approaches things. And certain players are getting passes galore and still continuously have to play. So it's going to be interesting tonight on E20 that whoever comes on has their say and tells me reasons why Moyes should stay or why Moyes should go. For me, I don't want Moyes to leave, but the next two games are key to where West Ham are going to be heading. If West Ham do not win the next two games, we fail to win the next two games, we're in a relegation battle. There's no two ways about it. And people need to wake up and understand that if West Ham end up in a relegation battle, Declan Rice won't be here next season. That's for sure. Do you know what I'm saying? So the Crystal Palace game and the Leicester game are massive to where West Ham are going to be heading. Let's have a look. Nippon, what do you want to say, son? You want you?
Am I? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, mate. What do you want to say?
Yeah. I think as a neutral, I think you should keep David Moyes because I don't know which. Oh God, who was the last manager? Look, I don't support. I don't know if you know this. I actually grew up in East. No, not grew up. I was born in East London, so I actually have a bit of a soft spot for West Ham.
Right.
So you are kind of my second team. I'm not gonna lie.
Right. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Nippon.
Carry on. I think you guys should keep David Moyes because he's been your best manager for quite a long time. He has taken you as far. He's taken you as far as possible in any European competition, and I think he should be given.
Has he peaked though, Moyes? In your opinion, is this the best Moyes we're going to get?
Yes and no. Put it this way: if things don't change, he should get till the end of the season, and if things don't change, that's when questions need to be asked.
Yeah. The thing is, Ivan, I will say this. Yeah, as a West Ham fan, I have seen the best and worst of David Moyes in probably the time he's been here. I think when he first come here and he galvanised the team, we got the team together, we looked very, very good. This season, we're falling off the edge of a cliff. like which is like worrying. And I look at the games that we've won. We've won 4 games this year, and we've been lucky to win in them 4 games. Barring probably
You should
one of them,
you should
we've
have
been
gotten
lucky.
at least a point against us at the
Yeah,
bridge.
yeah.
I
Listen,
don't know. I don't know how you didn't get that point. Is
mm,
baffling, but yeah, there are some games you weren't that good, but other games you guys I feel were just unlucky,
yeah.
and
I
that's
don't feel
football.
like I don't feel it's always unlucky with us. I will say that I can look at it and say, fair enough, we was very, very unlucky against certain teams this year. But you can say that once or twice, but we're saying that consistently. Like yesterday, people are saying that we was unlucky not to get something out of the game against Manchester United, and I look at it and I think, really, like for 15 minutes, for a 15-minute spell. But where do you think, Niffer, before I let you go, where do you think West Ham's going to finish this year?
I did say my initial prediction. I think before the season started was
Mm,
Newcastle 8th, you guys 7th.
yeah,
I don't know who I'd. Oh yeah, Man United 6th, Arsenal 5th, Liverpool 4th, Chelsea 3rd, Tottenham 2nd, and Man City
yeah.
1st. But that has changed. Has dramatically changed now.
Mm,
I think you guys could still finish top half, but I wouldn't be surprised if you finished outside the top half as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear you, mate.
Oh,
Niffen,
before you let me go, when's your next call in? So that I know when.
uh, this was a spare of the moment thing. I will say that, but I will let you know, mate. I will let you know.
Okay, yeah, it's
Anyway,
always nice speaking to you, mate.
take it easy, man. All the best. Chelsea fan say that West Ham should keep David Moyes. Listen, I look at it like this, yeah, in regards of Moyes, right? I like what he's done. I do. I like where he has took the club. But has he peaked at West Ham? Now, for me, I do feel he might have just peaked at a level where he can't take us any higher that we really want to go. I look at Newcastle United and they're just blowing teams out the water, right? And that's how West Ham was once upon a time. Do you know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, Newcastle have been a shambles for years. Like, and a lot of Newcastle fans will say that, but they've sorted their ownership out, got a decent manager in there, and they look threatening for top 6. I ain't gonna say top 4, but I think top 6 is very doable for them at present. West Ham in the next 2 games, if we do not pick up maximum points, we're in a relegation battle, and we're in a relegation battle amongst all relegation battles. Do you know what I'm saying? And people say, well, West Ham can't go down. West Ham are too good to go down. Someone tell me how West Ham are too good to go down, because I've seen it. I see it 20 years ago when West Ham went down with a better side, like with better players, top players at that, and we went flying down. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's people are going to make the argument also about players not being fit, but you can only work to what you can work with. And at the minute, Moyes has got players there who he's playing in silly positions like Flynn Downs. Why is Flynn Downs playing as a 10? That makes no sense to me. He's never been a 10 ever in his career. And Moyes is putting him as a number 10. Obviously, he's got no faith in Pablo Fornals. Scarborough. Moyes was pinned his hopes on Aguerd changing the dynamic of how we play. We'll be massive when we get him back. Is that how it's going to be, though, Scarborough? Come on, Scarborough. It'd be nice to hear from you. The way I look at it with this is, are we putting our hopes on one player? Like, I see it yesterday. People saying about Skamaka. Now, I'm not knocking Skamaka. I really am not. I think Skamaka's a top player. But we've got a bit of a problem if we're hoping that when Paqueta comes back, them two are going to just gel again and kick on. If Paqueta gets injured or something, we're knackered. Like, that means Skamaka's not scoring the goals. So it's a bit hit and miss at the minute. I think the loss of Pearce, I agree 100% on that, and Noble has affected the structure of the club, and now struggling to replace these influences on the training ground. I agree with you, Steve, 100% there, mate. I really do. Really, really do agree with that comment. I think Mark Noble's a major factor. I think Mark Noble kept the group tight together, if I'm honest. And when I do look at us now, I think Declan's got a lot on his shoulders for such a young man. Like, he's trying to be a captain. He's trying to run the team. He's trying to keep everyone happy. He's trying to do everything. And I think when he was captain last year, and he had Noble there, Noble could take half the weight. I don't think anyone else can take half the weight, if I'm being honest. Not if he plays free epoxy defensive midfield. The dynamic won't change. Yeah, I agree. We are 2 points behind Liverpool. Are they in a relegation battle if they don't win the next two? But Scarborough, I'm going to say this. Are Liverpool ever in threat of going down? That's the question I'll ask you right now. Liverpool are never in threat of going down, but West Ham United are always a threat of going down. If West Ham don't kick into gear soon, West Ham could be in a relegation battle. Now, if you're comparing us to Liverpool, then I want to know what you're having in Scarborough, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm going to say on that. Oh, it'd be nice to see if Scarborough could come on, because I do like Scarborough. He talks some good stuff. Brian's had enough of Moyes. He's Moyes out. Listen, as I say, I'm very much not in the camp of, let's just chuck Moyes out and get rid of him. Yeah, I'm not in that camp. But the next two games will define where we're heading. If we go into the World Cup and we are on 14 points that we currently are now, we're in a relegation battle. Let's be real. If we win the next two games, then everything looks rosy again. Do you know what I mean? And everything looks really, really good. But can you really see us winning them two games the way we're playing at present? I really can't. I really can't. I don't like to say that, right? But I've not seen West Ham play well this season, right? I've seen us play in patches of games where we looked quite decent, but I've never really seen us play well. Like, maybe the second half against Spurs, we played well there. We should have won the game. Other than that, what other games have we really played well in? Like, I'd like to hear it. Like, so it's very, very difficult, right, for me just to sit here and say about Moyes, yeah, and say everything that he's doing is great, because it ain't great. Yeah, some things he needs to be questioned on. Like the Flynn Downs thing at number 10 is a major thing, really. Right? Why is Flynn playing there? I've interviewed Swansea fans. Yeah, I've spoke to Swansea fans. I've spoke to people who have sort of watched him, yeah, on a level, and they've said he's never been a number 10 in his life. Like, so it's very hit and miss. It's very hit and miss for me. Scott says Chelsea, we were cheated. Right, I'm going to say that, Scott, about the Chelsea one, right? First half, and I remember covering that game because I come on here after and I literally let loose with Athers and everyone else, right? First half of that game against Chelsea, we had no shot on target. Yeah, we was solid, but we had no shot on target. All right, fair enough. Second half, we come out, we looked all right in that game. We scored the goal, and we had Chelsea under control. Yeah, I will say that. Then we just give away two stupid goals, one error from Fabianski for the Ben Chilwell goal. We go 2-1 down in a game where we had the game under control. So there was no reason to let the game go. Do you know what I'm saying? And the VAR call was bad, don't get me wrong, and it was a shocking call. Right? It's one of the worst calls I've seen, and probably even you've seen and all, Scott. So, yes, we was unlucky there, but we should never have been in that situation to be relying on VAR to save a point. We should have been in that situation looking to win the game, right? And we should have won that game, really, right? It's another game we just completely let go yet again. And this is a problem with Moyes, right? And this is the problem that I have with Moyes. He's played 70 games against the top six. I think it was, I had to laugh. They didn't even include Tottenham in it. So it was like Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United, Man City, Liverpool. It was top five, really. Yeah. 70 games, 49 losses, 21 draws, not one win. And he was even manager of Manchester United at that stage, and he still couldn't beat a top six side or top five side or whatever it is. So it's a problem. It's a major problem. Dan's is a can because Moyes trusts in his ball retention, pressing and passing. So are you telling me, Scarborough, that he's better than Fornells? And listen, you know how much I'm not a fan of Fornells. I do like Downs, but Downs is not a central attacking midfielder. He never has been, ever. That boy is a defensive midfielder, central midfielder. He's a two-man midfielder. He's not an attacking midfielder, mate. And the reason why, this is why I think Flynn Downs is playing, is because Moyes won't take Souček out the side. Because he looks at Souček and goes, nope, Souček's got to play. Now, you can say people have got an agenda against Thomas Souček. You can openly say that, yeah. But if you was to do a poll on major social media outlets and say, would you have Thomas Souček in your side right now? I can guarantee you that the majority of the people would be saying no. So the people ain't lying, are they? Let's be honest here. Strangles the life out the games, yet he's repeatedly that's choking. I'd rather have Teletubbies at attacking midfield than Fornells. Yeah. Moyes has no idea what he's doing. He needs to look for another manager. We could even go for Tuchel if we chuck money at him. I don't think we'd ever get Tuchel, mate, if I'm being honest. I want the dinosaur gone now, James. Had enough for a while now. Listen, I get it. I do get the reasoning behind why the fans do want him gone. Yeah, because they're looking at him and thinking, you spent £163 million this summer. Why are we looking worse than what we did last year with 14, 15 players that we used? Like last season, West Ham started off the season like a train. Yeah, and don't forget, last season, we started off like a train. We had the Euros there. So Declan only had about, four weeks rest and Souček before they started the season again. This season, we just don't look good. We're not playing well, really. Like, we're playing well in moments, but not in games. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't remember us dominating a team from start to finish. Like Bournemouth the other day sort of summed it up for me. Like, you can look at the Liverpool game and go, yeah, Liverpool was unlucky, yeah. But before Bowen had that penalty, we should have been 3-0 down. Like, they hit the post. Fabianski was keeping us in the game, and the same thing happened yesterday at Old Trafford. Right, against Manchester United yesterday, like we lose the game 1-0. Yeah, Rashford scores the goal. But what people don't keep forgetting is they had chances at their end where they hit the post again. Right, another team that hits the post. They also had Ronaldo had clear-cut chances, and Fabianski even kept us in the game before they even scored. So it's not good at the minute. It's just not good. And what I worry about is the conference for me, because the conference really we haven't really got out of second gear in the conference, in my opinion. Like, we've just strolled along in the conference, got the job done. Against Silkeborg the other day, we should be putting, if that's West Ham in form flying, West Ham put 4 past that team. No problem. Like, West Ham go to town on that team. West Ham are just not going to town on teams at the minute. Like, even Anderlecht, I look at them away from home. West Ham last season would have put them to the sword quite easily, and we struggled to even get the win there. Like, we got the win in the end, like, and it was a late winner to get the win, but it's a problem. Drainhole, how you doing, mate? I hope you're all well. Evening all. Sorry I'm late. I think we are suffering with a lack of confidence. The problem is with that Drainhole, right, is how can we play very, very well in one game, and in another game we play like we've never played football in our lives? Like, on Sunday, I looked at it, and I think Saïd Benrahma was the best attacker for West Ham United. Yeah, Saïd played on Thursday night for 68 minutes. Like, Skamaka didn't play on Thursday, Bowen didn't play, and they just looked a shadow of themselves yesterday. Like, it's a big problem at West Ham. Yeah. Now, the whole Moyes thing is sort of building up, because I'm seeing it on social media, and I'm seeing it even on doing the YouTube videos. Like, after a game, I'm seeing people saying he needs to go. Like, and some people say, no, you've got to give him time. You've got to wait for him to get all his players together, come into the side, and go from there. If we continuously do what we're doing right now, we'd be lucky to stay in the league at this rate. Like, 4 wins out of 13 games is not good. It's not good form. And when you look at Nottingham Forest and how bad Forest have been, Forest are only 5 points behind us. Do you know what I'm saying? And we should be miles clear of this team, right? Miles clear. When players are confident, they give that extra 5% and make extra runs. I agree, but why are we lacking confidence? Like, I don't get it. I just don't understand why well, why it's going so wrong at the minute, if I'm being truthfully honest. Is it the team? Is it the personnel? Is it the people in the backroom staff like Pearce and Noble? And I do think Noble is a major miss there. I do. I think the sooner Mark Noble gets here in January, the better. Like, he has to get into this club as soon as possible. And I think maybe, just maybe, things might change. But it's a bit of a concern if you're legend of a player, right, or icon, right, West Ham icon. He retires and goes and has a few months off, and we end up going from being very, very good to, let's be honest, we're not very good at the minute. We're not very good at all, and we're getting by, which is not the way it should be. Simple analogy: let attacking players attack, let them express themselves freely, not being held back. Bet that killed Moyes keeping Benny on for 90 minutes. Do you know what the irony, Ian, on that comment? Yeah, is that a lot of people said that they didn't want Benny at the club, and now Benny is, let's be honest, he's our best attacker this season, which is saying a lot. And listen, even though I back Benny up, sometimes I look at him and think, fuck me, your attacking skills are shite, mate. Do you know what I'm saying? And you need to sort yourself out. So it is a major concern. It really is. I agree with Scott on this comment. Missing Noble in the dressing room, bad by the looks of it. I couldn't agree more with you, Scott. Right, I really couldn't. He's an influence, isn't he? He's a major player at West Ham, and he's a major influence man. What he brings, I do think a lot of this stuff though. Declan's took a lot on his shoulders, and Declan can't do everything. Like, he can't be the captain. He can't be the best player on the pitch every week. Other people have to step up. And for me, I could probably name about 4 people that have sort of stepped up over the course of the season, which is not good. Well, it ain't really good, really. What we got? Let's have a look. Let's see what Draino's got to say. I understand both arguments, but change is no guarantee of a win. Beginning of last season, we had more than one player playing well in games. Yeah, I agree on that. James, can you hear me? Yes, I can, mate. I can hear you. Would you rather bring back Manuel Pellegrini or Bilic? No, I wouldn't, mate. I'd rather go and get the man from Sporting Lisbon. If West Ham said Moyes is no more, go over to Sporting Lisbon and get him out of there, because he's a very, very good manager. I'm not sure of the man's name, but I've seen his credentials. He's a top quality manager that won't be at Sporting Lisbon for long. Chelsea tried to get him at their club, and they couldn't get him out of Lisbon until the end of the season. I look at it like this: he's a manager that plays attacking football. He plays a certain brand where it's exciting to see. West Ham really playing exciting football at the minute? Not for me. And even though you're a Villa fan, I'm going to say this quite openly: we was lucky, very lucky, to beat you at your gaff this season. We nicked it 1-0, which that game was filtering that into a 0-0 draw. So, yeah, Sporting Lisbon manager would be my ideal choice. Antonio on the wing, Bowen, Scamacca up front. I agree on that. I agree. I was quite shocked that he didn't go with that yesterday. I will say that. I thought Martinez was there for the taking, and to be honest, Martinez looked good, but Scamacca just didn't get all over him. And yeah, like, I would like to see that. I want to see something different at West Ham. I don't know about anyone else, but I do. I just want to see something. I want to see us like look exciting on the iron. I'm just not seeing it at the minute. Like, is anyone else seeing it at the minute? Right? Or am I being negative? If I'm being negative, tell me. Let's go up here. I've never liked Moyes. James will back me up. I put money on us to get relegated back in the summer. Eastside views with his positive outlook. I'm going to be honest. If I was to put money on it, and I am a bit of a betting man, I don't think West Ham will get relegated this season. But I wouldn't like to put a lot of money on it. Let's put it like that. Like, I just don't. I look at us and I think we've got the quality to get out of this situation. 100%. We've got top quality players at this club. The problem is, what people keep forgetting is West Ham are never too good to go down. We said that 20 years ago. Now, anyone who's sort of my age or older than me will remember 2003 when West Ham had them players, and West Ham were very good side when you had the likes of like Joe Cole, Carrick, Glenn Johnson, Jermaine Defoe, DiCanio, Canute. Like we had some very, very good players, but we still went down. Now, I'm not saying that we're in the in dangers of going down, but the next two games are massive to where our season could be heading. Like West Ham can't keep giving away games and keep saying that we're unlucky. Like there has to be, there's got to be a reason why we're not performing at present, and we're not performing well. Right, we really ain't. Would have thought Nolan would have had some input, maybe. Noble and Pearce, two big personalities to replace. The Pearce one, I think, is a major concern. We've never replaced Pearce, and the Warburton appointment baffled me. Really did baffle me, that one, because he was at QPR. I think he got sacked from QPR. I might be wrong on that. And to end up at West Ham as I don't know what he is. Like, is he a scout or first team scout or whatever it is? I don't get it. I don't understand that one, the Warburton one. Don't get me wrong. Him being here sort of helps get the Flynn Downs deal, which is good. But to me, it just made no sense. And we haven't really replaced Pearce at all. Like even Noble, for instance, he's a major player. Do you know what I mean, for us? And he helps us out. That is the man, mate. That's the man. Remember that name. He will not be at Sporting Lisbon for long. Trust me. He'll be out of Sporting Lisbon and he'll be out of a top club and maybe a club in the Premier League. Poch, not for me. I think you need to go with someone who's not got connections to Tottenham. I will say that. Bring that Marcus Edwards with him. Absolute. And Ryan brings up a valid point. Yeah, absolute valid point there. That man there, Marcus Edwards, Tottenham youth player, right, doing nothing at Tottenham, yeah, goes to Sporting Lisbon. Sporting Lisbon pay the money, like a minimal fee, I think it was, get him over to Sporting Lisbon. He's turned into one of their top players, and he scored against Spurs the other day. Looks an absolute gem of a player. It reminds me of a young Raheem Sterling at Liverpool. Decent player, and I've got to be honest. I want one about West Ham. What we got? I'll take Poch all day, but how would fans react to his Spurs? I don't think. I think people would get over that, but I couldn't get over that. It's like the same thing with Tuchel. I'm not really a fan of Tuchel at all. I think Moyes will play three at the back when a fully fit squad. The problem is, Tony, yeah, is that will West Ham ever have a fully fit squad? Because there's always going to be players missing. Like I think last season we was incredibly lucky to not have any major injuries. The difference is this season we've got European football, we've got Premier League football, we've got Cup football, League Cup, FA Cup, and we've got a World Cup to deal with. Now, if we pick up any injuries for any key players like Declan Rice, Bowen, Paqueta, for instance, then that's like we're going to have to adapt, and I just don't see West Ham adapting at the minute. That's the problem I have. West Ham should be going through teams, and like even Silkenborg the other day, even though it's a second string side, Antonio on form last season puts two past them easy. Right, he's on it. It's something missing. Like the West Ham vibe, the buzz, it's just not vibing at the minute, in my opinion. I think we play some structured passing football, but Paqueta makes us tick. With Aguerd as a sweeper, he allows us to play a higher defensive line, so we can push teams back and dominate the ball. The problem is, though, with that, and I do agree with that comment, I will say that, I do agree with the Aguerd things. I think Aguerd's an absolute top quality player. And the sooner we get him in the side, the better. I do agree it will help us push up. But we should be doing better without these players. Like, these players should be a bonus, really. And West Ham are not doing any better, right, than they should be. I can't understand how we don't bully Harry Maguire with Antonio up top and Skamaka number 10. Downs, middle. We need a replacement for Cresswell. We need a fit Cornet. So that's another thing. Cornet's been in and out the side, which has been a bit of a blow, really, if I'm being honest. The geezer at Brentford, Franks, would be a good shout. I think he's done a good job at Brentford, but would I have him at West Ham? Maybe not. but I don't want Moyes to go. I want Moyes to change and adapt. And that stat that come out the other day from William Mill was borderline shocking. Absolute borderline shocking. 70 games, 49 losses, 21 draws is poor. It's poor. And I know people will say about, well, we finished sixth, we finished seventh. I get that. That's amazing. Yeah, very well done. But when you've spent £163 million in the summer, you've got to look at it and go, why are we worse off than we have been over the last 2 years with a better side? Because this side that we've got now is a better side. He's better technically than Sterling. I agree. Yeah, I do agree with that with old Marcus, I must admit. Not for me. Nah, I wouldn't do that, mate. If I'm honest, I think he's at the level where he should be, Bill. I don't think he's a good like coach, stroke manager. I think QPR suits him down to the ground, but I think there's levels. I think if you want to go up to a level, like I look at what you've done, you've got rid of Gerrard, you've brought in Unai Emery. It's ambitious, I will say that, but you've gone ambitious to get where you want to be. West Ham at the minute are not ambitious at the minute. I don't know where we are. We're very much at a crossroads at present. The way he's playing, I don't think we need to worry. James Bowen won't be on the plane. He's been shite. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Bowen this season hasn't been good for West Ham. Yet again, he's another one that has been up and down a little bit. If I'm being honest, should have got Eddie Howe when we had the chance. Listen, I like Eddie Howe, but I do think Newcastle are vibing, right? Which I use that word openly. Yeah, when I look at Newcastle, they put 5 past Brentford. They put 3 or 4 past Aston Villa the other day. They put 4 past Fulham. I think it was the other week. They look like a team that we once were. Like when COVID happened and West Ham were playing the games behind closed doors, we went to places like Leicester and put 3 past them. We went to Villa and won 3-1, I think it was, or 4-1. We don't even look like scoring like 2 goals at the minute. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's a problem. Like I don't understand. And the thing is, I don't want to be negative on Moyes, but I don't get where the drop off has come from, because we've still got the same players there from last season. We've still got the Jared Bowen, Ben Rama, Rice, Antonio, Cresswell, Dawson, Zuma. We've still got the core who's been there last season, and the new players that have come in have helped us. But the existing players are not. It's just not vibing for some reason. I just don't understand why. I really don't. The problem is teams are sitting off us now, and our current defenders ain't the best at breaking the lines. 3 at the back: Dawson, Zuma, Aguerd, Kera, and Emerson wingbacks. I'm not a fan of 3 at the back, if I'm being honest. The best game I've ever seen West Ham play, where I looked at us and I thought, wow, we look unreal, was against Arsenal a few years ago when we drew the game 3-3. But for 30 minutes of that game, first 30 minutes of that game, we come out, we blew them out the water, Arsenal. We went 3-0 up and we could have been 6-0 up. It was unreal. And that was when we had Antonio, 4 Nels as a 10, Ben Rama and Bowen. 3-4-3, I just don't like it. I just don't like us in that system. I really don't. I've never liked it, and I don't remember a time when West Ham have ever played well in that system. So to try and convert to that system now would be mad. I do like the 4-3-3. I do. I think the 4-3-3 is good, but I think there's certain players in that 4-3-3 you have to take out. So it's interesting. You're unlucky once, twice, even 3 times, but 2 points from 70, that's not down to any bad luck. That's just negative approach repeating itself time and time again. Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I really do. I can't believe we have only won 7 games in 2022 in the Premier League. Yeah, I know, mate. Ryan, I actually see that stat and I was quite stunned myself. I thought it was a lot. I thought it was a few more than that. I think if you had the cup games into that, it goes up to about 12 or 14 or something like that. But yeah, 7 games is not good. The drop-off started when Moyes started slagging off the players in interviews. That's a good point, Tony, I must admit. I remember that. I remember he started saying a few things. Newcastle have got balance, something we are striving for. Honestly, dropping Soucek and playing a three of Downs, Paqueta, and Rice is perfect. I agree on that. And I will say that openly. But can you see David Moyes doing that? Like, if anyone can honestly say that you're going to see Downs, Rice, and Paqueta as a three-man midfield, I don't think it's going to happen. Do you know what I'm saying? And it should happen really, but it won't, because we all know it just won't, and that is the major problem. It's a major problem there. Southside Hammer, welcome, mate. Evening. Moyes' defensive pass is holding back this squad, who have to play better when free to play their style, which he has brought for them. Totally agree, mate. Totally agree. He's a defensive manager. I'll tell you this quickly before I carry on with your comments. On William Hill, I tagged someone in it, in that sort of stat of 70, 49, 21, 0 wins. And an Everton fan, out of the blue, randomly just messaged me, and he said, Moyes was like that at Everton. And I retweeted it, and I said to him, what did you make of him? He said, he's a very, very good manager to keep you a stable ship. I will say that. He said, but in certain games for Everton, big games, he bottled it massively. He was too scared to go and attack, and he was just too negative. And in the end, he just basically turned around and said to me, he said, what he's doing with yous now is basically how he was at Everton towards the back end of his career. And how he got the Man United job was a bit unreal. Let's put it like that. It's only because Alex Ferguson put a good word in for him. So there you go. Even Everton fans are saying it. Even Redknapp commented on Soucek's limitations on Sky. I did say that. I must admit, I was quite shocked. Even pundits are pulling him up now, which they usually don't. I will say that. It's fucking embarrassing that there are Villa times 2, Norwich, Fulham, Wolves, Watford, Everton. They are the only teams we have beaten in 2022. Wow. Ooh. When you look at that, right, how many of them teams have been? 2 of them teams got relegated last season. They were shocking in Norwich and Watford. Everton were poor last season. That was 2-1, and we was lucky to win that game. What we got there? Wolves and all the others. Oh yeah, that's not good, mate. That's not good. Antonio said Moyes told them to keep it tight and go for it on the 80th minute. Yeah, but what I don't understand with that? And listen, if that is the case, usual suspect, then that's the case. But how is that progressive? Like, when I look at Man United yesterday, Man United weren't all that, right? And I think Moyes keeps playing the badge rather than the team. He looks at the badge and he goes, oh my God, it's Manchester United. We've got to be defensive, right? I look at Man United yesterday, right? They weren't amazing, but they had loads of half chances. Do you know what I'm saying? Half moments. And I was like, oh, it's so frustrating, mate. It really is. Moyes is a mid-table manager. Yeah. Arguably, Warburton should help with possession-based football. Yeah. And that's the problem. And that is a good point also from Scarborough. I will say that, right? We can't even... how many times yesterday did we have the ball and we give the ball away? Like, how many times do we have to give the ball away back to the opposition? Even the commentators were basically saying, what is going on here? Like, both teams are as bad as one another. So how are we playing possession-based football if we can't even control the ball and keep it? Probably with Moyes, he's played as a defender. He was a defender. Moyes is a waste of space. How is Moyes still here? Would you take the ex-Seville manager? Nah, I wouldn't, mate. I really wouldn't if that was me. I'm all over the Sporting Lisbon manager, mate, all day. Moyes knows we can't play passing football with our current players. Honestly, I can't underestimate Paqueta and Aguero's importance when fit. The problem is with that, Scarborough, the Paqueta one, I'm with you on. Yeah? I'm with you on the Paqueta one. The Aguero one, no one's seen Aguero play other than the other day against Silkeborg. So, really, we shouldn't be relying on Aguero to come in and be the player he is. I know he's going to be a top quality player. You probably do or not. Now, I covered Aguero a long time in the summer transfer window, and I said that he will be a top player for West Ham. West Ham have signed a player from Rennes who is going to be. I think he's going to be one of the key signings this summer. Defensively, I just think he's excellent, all right, in what he does. But we should be better than what we are now. Like, we shouldn't be relying on these players to come in and make us better. We should be better and add these players in to make us even better than we are. And I've not seen it. I've just not seen us at all. Like, the question to the chat is this, yeah? Tell me a game this season, right, in the Premier League only, that you've looked at West Ham and you've gone, wow, we was good in that game, or we was second half, we was excellent in that game, but we was unlucky. Like, I can say that we was unlucky in, say, probably 2 or 3 games this season. Yeah. The Nottingham Forest game, we did hit everything other than the back of the net. I will say that. But for my game, what I would probably say is the second half against Spurs. I think we absolutely smashed Spurs in the second half. We scored 1 goal, and we just kept going bang, 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 banging on the door, and we just couldn't break through it in the end. And Bowen had a great chance at the end, and if that goes in, we would have deserved the 3 points against them all day long. And it ain't because it's Spurs; it's because I just thought second half we took them to task, and they were unbeaten at the time. So that would be my game. It'd be interesting to see what anyone else thinks on their game this season. Let's get to comments where I wait for you to say that. Moyes told him, if we go a goal down, make sure we don't go 2-0. 2 down. If we do, make sure we don't go 3. Attack the last 10 minutes. See, I do need a laugh, mate. Fair enough. That was a good one. Aguero is honestly silly good, and his importance is going to be like Van Dijk's influence for Liverpool. Trust. I'd say he's going to be a massive player for West Ham, Aguero, but we've got to start playing like a massive team. We're not playing like a massive team at the minute, if I'm being honest. It seems to me that it all went pear-shaped when we didn't sign anyone in January and Pierce left. What it is about that, sort of towards the start of the year, basically, people were making excuses for the Europa League. They were saying, well, West Ham in the Europa League last 16, quarter-final, semi-final. And people sort of papered over the cracks of the Premier League. Now, obviously, doing the YouTube and covering the YouTube, you go back and watch the videos that you've done. And the one game last year that stands out for me, where I looked at us and we just looked nothing, was Brentford away. Went to Brentford away and we got our asses completely kicked by a team that had just been promoted to the league. Don't get me wrong, Brentford are a good side, yeah, but they're another side that's inconsistent at best. You're either going to get a very good Brentford side, or you're going to get a side that will get destroyed. Now, last season I see that. I looked at other games that we just let go, and it was like people were saying, "Don't worry, it's the Europa League. Think about the Europa League." And now people are saying the same thing again about the conference. Don't worry about it. It's all about the conference. Now, it shouldn't be like that. It should be both at the end of the day, and both. Like, we should be in both of them. Do you know what I'm saying? And this sort of persona where Moyes don't lose 2 or 3 games in a row, well, he needs to sort himself out. Definitely Forest, we should have won. Chelsea robbed. Spurs, we should have won 100%. I think the Chelsea one, we was robbed for a point, but we should never have been in that situation, in my opinion. I will say that. I think the last time we played really well was Liverpool last season, and that was a year ago. That was a year ago, about a week ago. So, for me, yeah, we haven't played well in a year. Excuse me. I would probably agree with Steve on that comment about Liverpool last year. So I'll never forget watching that game. It was the best I've seen West Ham play for a while. I thought the boys played excellent. I thought it was a good game, don't get me wrong, but I thought Pablo Fornals, who I'm not his biggest fan, I gave him man of the match, but I thought he just ran the show as number 10. And he was top draw. Since then, I haven't seen us do anything. Really, not a lot. Probably Leon away, sort of, if it was to go overall, Leon away was amazing. But Premier League, no, I can't remember. Do you think it is mentally for you lot mentality. I don't know. I don't know, mate. If you want me to be honest, when I look at us, we're struggling to score goals. We're we're going to teams and we're setting up so defensively. Right against Southampton the other week, we go there, we set up again in a defensive way, and then as soon as he brings Sai Benrahma on, changes the system, we score a goal straight away. And in the last 30 minutes, it's all out attack. It's all out attack, right? And we're all over Southampton. The Liverpool game, papers over the cracks for me. It's a 1-0 loss, but we could have easily been 2 or 3-0 down before that penalty. And people will look at the penalty or look at the Souček miss or look at other things that happened in the second half and go, oh, yeah, we was unlucky. But they don't look at the first half when we could have easily been 3 or 4-0 down. So I don't know if it's a mentality thing. I just feel that certain games, Moyes is just, his attitude's just wrong. His approach is just wrong. The personnel sometimes is majorly wrong. Now, before the international break, he was calling for to come out to play. Right? Why is he not playing? He comes in, he scores. He's been okay since he started coming in. I think Jared Bowen is a major player for West Ham, and we've missed his influence. Like last season, he carried this team, and without Jared's goals, I don't know where West Ham would have ended up. West Ham don't end up in the top 10 without his goals. So I think it's a calculated of a few things, but it's just not a good feeling at the minute to be where we are. Like we're at a crossroads in our season, and people say, "Oh, it's only 13 games." Like, how many games has it got to be before people start waking up and going, "This is not good"? Do you know what I'm saying? When was the last game we had 3 players play a 7 out of 10 in the Prem? Yeah. I'll tell you what, Drano, where I do the player ratings, I'm struggling to think about how many players have played for it. 7 out of 10. I'd probably say Wolves. Wolves this season would be one. That'd be one. I think, yeah, I'd say Wolves, mate. I'd say Wolves, and probably Spurs. Probably Spurs would be another one. No, Villa, it's lining up like we are running scared of the opposition. It's a total joke. Moyes sets up for Southampton like we're playing Manchester City. Yeah. The Southampton one did upset me a little bit because don't get me wrong, I know we're in a new era of football now with XG and all that, but at the minute, like XG, that's another thing that papers over the cracks for me. It makes us look like we're better than what we really are. Like someone said to me the other day about the XG at Liverpool, and me and West Ham Online was having a row about it big time. And I said, you can't use the XG at Liverpool, mate, because we had a penalty that we missed. So the XG is going to look higher because we had a golden chance to score. The XG does pay over the cracks at West Ham, majorly. Again, it was a counter-attacking football, though. Teams have figured us out, and that's why Aguerd and Paqueta will be so important. Aguerd, Fred's passes, and Paqueta picks the locks. Yeah, I know, but we need to be playing. What it is, though, Scarborough, I'm going to say this. We haven't got them at the minute. So we need to play better without them. Because what happens if they get injured or they're out for any length of time? So we've got to adapt. Even the Bournemouth game, he sets up negative. That's another game, Steve. The Bournemouth game, we was lucky. Like, we get a penalty, really. Oh, no, tell a lie. We get a goal that we should never... If that goal happens to us, we're going mad as fans. Let's be honest. Like if a defender volleys it up for someone else to score, we're all going mental as West Ham fans. But we'll take it because it's us, right? The penalty is a penalty, but it's a lucky, really. So yeah, Bournemouth wasn't convincing the other day. So. Well, I can't even get that. Right, I can get that comment off. Right, here we go. Right, back with yous. Palace haven't won away for God knows how long. If we come unstuck against them, I think the game is up for Moyes. I agree. I agree. I'm going to come to that shortly. I'm going to get these comments read out, and I'll get to that before I wrap this up. Liverpool are always going to create chances, though, and no team will not concede at Liverpool. It's a bit of luck here and there. Leeds were dominant, but countered effectively. Yeah. Let's have a look. Let's get down to the bottom here. Liverpool are struggling for the same reasons, James. They are playing their fringe players due to injuries and are struggling. Yeah, I know, Scarborough, but we can't keep comparing ourselves to Liverpool, mate. We can't be comparing ourselves to Liverpool because Liverpool have won things and West Ham haven't won anything for 42 years. So I understand what you're saying, but West Ham need to adapt and they need to adapt fast. And this is where I'm going to lead on to my sort of final point of the evening. Next two games. Now, I want everyone in the chat, 43 people watching. We have got Palace at home and Leicester at home. Is it too much to ask that we get 6 points out of them two games? They're back-to-back home games. We're playing the Palace side who are up and down. We're playing the Leicester side that have improved in recent weeks. What is a realistic points tally that you want to see against them sides for the wrap-up for the World Cup? I will start off with this. I would like us to win both of them. I think we're good enough to win both of them. I think we've got better teams than the two teams that we're playing. I look at us and I think if we win them two games, then top 10 finish is on the cards. Failure to win them two games, and then we come back and face Arsenal, who would probably be top of the league by then, is a major worry for me. Because if we start the new year in the bottom half, or bottom three, for instance, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. So, and with the Conference League also, and injuries, if we get any injuries, it's a major concern. So I'm going to wait for you to put your comments in about how many points you want to see West Ham get at their next two games. For me, it has to be at 4 to 6 points. It has to be. Anything less than that is just not good enough. It's just not good enough at all. Right, let's get to this. The season we finished 6th, we blew 2 or 3 games that could have got us 4th. Totally agree with CM on that, 100%. Due to Moyes' negative tactics. One of them games was Newcastle away. We lost 3-2 and Dawson got sent off. And even Arsenal to a point where it was 3-0 up. We drew the game 3-0. Leicester playing better. I think we get 2 points. I won't be having 2 points, mate. Know that. Not 2 back-to-back home games. Moyes needs to go. He doesn't know what to do with the quality players. 4 points for right, let's get that. Right. 4 points for Steve. The string guard will sort itself out. There you go, Steve. 4 points for me. I agree. That's the minimum I'd probably take. Absolute dead minimum, depending on how the games go. I want to see better than that, though. We can win both. I'm confident we have a good record against Leicester. Yeah. I agree on that one. Palace will be tricky. We can't settle for less than two wins, or at least go for it in both and see what happens. Yeah, I agree. Ahmed says 6 points, 4 points. No, I swear, yeah, I agree. 6 points is a must. I agree with the CM 100%. 6 points, nothing less than that in the next 2 games. Yep, I agree, mate. It has to be 6 points. We really should be beating these teams. We can win both, but I think we'll get 4 points. Palace, always a tricky local derby. I agree with you on that, Steve. Every time we play them, it's always a banker draw. Right. If I'm having a bet, I usually always chuck West Ham to draw with Palace at home. West Ham just don't seem to beat this team at home. Like last season, I think it was West Ham were leading twice, and they got pegged back twice by was it Conor Gallagher? Scored a brace last year. And the Leicester game last year, we absolutely destroyed them in the second game of the season, like Monday night at the LS. What I need to see before I sort of wrap this up on Sunday is we need to give a team a good ironing, really, and just go through a team, and hopefully that will kickstart us. Like it's like we're waiting for something to happen with West Ham, which is a shame. Which is a shame. I will say that. When people said it was Moyes who didn't know how to play, look at him as soon as he started scoring for fun. Yeah. 3-0 versus Palace, 2-1 versus Leicester. I need Plymouth tonight, drawing 1-0 at half time. Plymouth a good side, mate. I watched them the other week. Yeah, they're a good side. I think they're getting promoted this year. Let's have a look. We have to win the next 2 or we're in trouble. No point in sitting back. He has to attack, and let's hope Paqueta gets fit sooner. He seems to make Skamaka play better. Yeah. One thing I will say on that is that we need to get these players fit and in the squad, and Moyes needs to not bed them in, like that old saying of like, or bed them in and gel them in and all this rubbish that I keep hearing. Aguerd needs to get fit fast and get into this side. I think he ain't gonna play a Premier League game like this side of the year. I don't think. I think he's going to go to the World Cup, come back, and he might start against Arsenal. Right? If not, it'll be New Year. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I just don't think Moyes has got any faith in playing this geezer straight away. When I think Aguerd's absolutely quality. Paqueta's a different story though. We need Paqueta back, and if Paqueta is back against Palace and Leicester, we might have our chance of getting the wins that we need. If we don't get the wins that we need against them 2 sides, I think we're in trouble, as in like a relegation battle. I don't think we'll go down. I'm going to say that, and I'll have money on it that I don't think West Ham will go down. But I just think that this season is just we're just not performing, And if we can't beat Palace and Leicester at home in 2 back-to-back home games, then how do we sort of climb the table and start beating other teams around us? Do you know what I'm saying? So it's going to be an interesting 2 weeks before the wrap up the end of the season. Ian Moore says, let's be clear. Drop Souček now. Yeah. The Souček debate will always carry on. Aguerd starts the next Premier League game. Moyes was trying to sign him for 2 years ago. I don't think he does, Scarborough. He does not start against Crystal Palace. I'll tell you what, this is exactly what will happen. And I want you to come back and say I told you so, right? On Thursday night, Aguerd starts in Romania. Yeah, he don't start against Palace on the Sunday. I don't think Moyes is going to play him, mate, if I'm honest. I think he might play him in cup games just to get embedded in. I think the Blackburn game, which is coming up on the middle of November, he will play in that. I just don't think he plays in the Prem. I really don't. I'm pretty sure of it. Yeah, even Tony said he'll play on the Thursday and against Blackburn. Totally agree. And Souček needs to be left out. Name the players we had when we went down. It's scary, mate. I remember that clear as day. 20 years ago, we had Carrick, Cole, Defoe, Di Canio, Glenn Johnson, Frederick Canute, to name a few. You know what I mean? And that was back then. We had a very, very good side, very good young side. I think David James was in there. I think Repka was in there. I might be wrong on that, but I'm sure Repka was there. We had a very, very good side back then, and to go down the way we did, and we went down with the highest ever points tally to get relegated. I think it was on like 42 points or something. So, and this season it could be like that because the teams are bunched together and everyone's beating everyone at the minute. So, yeah. But that year, I must admit, I will never forget that 20 years ago, like when we went down at Birmingham away. That was just painful to see. Trust me. Only team to go down with over 40 points. Yeah, Tony and mate. It took me a long, long time to get over it. And then the following season, we lose in the playoff final. And the following season after that, we come up. So, yeah, we got there in the end. When Paqueta and Aguerd return, we will be a different side. Keep the faith. But where will we be when they do return? That's the question. We ain't going down. We are far better than a lot of teams. Are we? Are we better than Scarborough? But at the minute, the teams that I think will be going down, like Bournemouth and Fulham, are miles ahead of us at the minute. So, yeah, Brooking was the manager. Yeah, he was. He took over from. Who did he take over from? I think it was Roda, I think. I'm sure it was Roda. All my non-West Ham mates said we were too good to go down. Yeah. Well, listen, West Ham are never too good to go down, and I'll be honest with you, and probably and be truthful on this one. I don't think West Ham will go down this season. I think West Ham have got too much quality, like Scarborough says. But if we think that we're too good, yeah, we're going to start sorting ourselves out, right, and start winning some games. Because if we don't, then we're going to slip and start slipping down this league. The worrying factor is when I look at Nottingham Forest, and Nottingham Forest have been pumped by a lot of teams. They're 5 points behind us. Do you know what I'm saying? And when I look at them, they've been pumped by Arsenal, City, and other teams, but they're still 5 points behind us. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's not good at the minute. Yeah, Glenn Roeder. Yeah, I thought it was. Souček and Kafal are our weak links. Should be squad players, not first choice. I think Kafal's been pushed out now. I will say that. I think Kafal, if Kera's at right back, and I see a lot of people giving Kera a stick on yesterday. And I was like, really? I don't know. Like you're blaming one player. And listen, first half, I thought he weren't all that, Kera. I'll be honest. Second half, I thought he was a lot better. Got down that line, and that's what I want to see in me left back and right back. Souček is a major debate. It's a major debate. It's one of these ones whether you're in the Souček camp or you're not. If you're in the Souček camp, you back him all day. You say, you know what? Look what he brings. Look what he does. I'm in the camp of I just don't think he's very, very good on the ball. I think he's too robotic. I think he's easily dispossessed. I think teams target him because they know they can't get anywhere near Declan when Declan's got the ball. When Declan's got the ball, he strides out, he breaks the lines, he's excellent in what he does. When I look at Souček, he does none of that. He don't score many goals anymore. Like he's just not the same player that we signed in 2020. Like when we loaned him in 2020 and he comes to the Prem, he was a top player, like for us, and he was excellent. And he's slowly just going down this sort of hill of just like into nothing. I do like him as a bloke. I think he's he seems like a decent geezer, but would I have him in the starting lineup? I wouldn't at present, and that is a problem with Moyes because that's where the favouritism factor comes into play there. And I look at him and I think, oh, it's a bit of favouritism there, Moyes. Like, why you keep consistently playing Souček when his stats are not very good, and what he brings to the side is not a lot anymore, and what some other players do. I ain't going to go fully in on him because yesterday I thought he wasn't as bad as everyone made out, but he wasn't good either. So, yeah, let's have a look. Luckily, there's a lot of rubbish teams worse than us. Roeder, damage was already done, hurt just as much as when Avram Grant thought. I remember coming out of the Reebok Stadium totally numb. Yeah, listen, I remember that and all. And I will never forget that season with Avram Grant because I remember West Ham played Arsenal at Upton Park and I think we lost the game 3-1, if I remember rightly. Yeah. And it was reported that he was going to get the sack that night. And West Ham sort of delayed it. And then they didn't sack him. In the end, they said, no, we're gonna give him the vote of confidence and keep him to the end of the season. And he ended up getting us relegated, right? And I'll never forget that game. Like that was a game where I went like major mistake by West Ham there. West Ham should have just said, you know what, get out, go and get someone else. And if it works, then great. If it don't work, then we haven't really lost nothing. It doesn't matter what players we have. Without proper management and unfortunate circumstances, any team can get relegated. Yeah, I do agree with Joseph on that. Avram Grant was total and complete disaster. One of my worst experiences as a West Ham fan. Yeah, Grant was clueless, to say the least. Do you know what I'm saying? And even so much as recently, right, when David Moyes come back and helped us the first time, yeah, Roberto, like, whoever kept trying to keep playing Roberto in the side, do you know what I'm saying? And said he was a goalkeeper, was like massively like deluded. Right, do you know what I'm saying? And eventually we had to play David Martin, who, let's be honest, he's like unreal game against Chelsea away when West Ham won 1-0, I think it was. That kept Pellegrini in the job, I think it was, at the time. It's because of Roberto. Roberto nearly relegated us. If we would have carried on, we'd be in the Championship. I see Torino are going to play 15 million for Vlasic. That's 15 million profit because we have not paid for him. Yeah. Always said that with Vlasic, mate. Always said it with Vlasic. I thought Italian football would suit him down to the ground. In Premier League football, he's just too fast for him, and just not going to work with him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to leave it at that, people. I've done over an hour on this sort of topic with David Moyes. What's going to happen in the future? Only Moyes can sort this out now. Do you know what I'm saying? I do feel, though, the Crystal Palace game on Sunday is a massive game for West Ham United. West Ham have to win that game. I think if we lose that game against Palace, his job is majorly in the firing line. I listened to something today on TalkSport, and I listened to two callers. One caller was a bit what I was saying. This is not good enough, and why are we performing worse with £163 million plus spent at the club? I don't know. Another fan said, don't worry about it. The league's tight, and basically making excuses for it, really. There is no excuses in the next two games. Right, we're going to have rest on Thursday night because I expect the youngsters to play again over there in Romania. So I expect a fully fit, fully raring to go side against Crystal Palace at home. Then the following Wednesday we have Blackburn, which will probably be another cup side, and then the following Saturday we have Leicester, and that is us done until Boxing Day. Now, for me, there is no excuses on Sunday. I expect to win. Yeah, Crystal Palace or not, West Ham are at home. We're a big club. We've spent a lot of money. We should be going at Palace, winning this game and winning this game well. And I feel if we don't win this game, then on my head will firmly be in the Moyes camp now. Do you know what I mean? Of saying no more for Moyes. Do you know what I'm saying? So he needs to perform. He needs to perform for the fans, and we need a win. I don't want to see West Ham in this bottom half of this table. Right, this is one of the reasons why we left Upton Park, not to be in this situation no more, to be better than we was when we was there. So we will see what happens. We will see what happens. Right, let's get to your final comments before I go. Joan says thank you. Thank you, Joan, for watching. Steve, no worries, mate. Great show, Jane. As always, big shout out to all in the chat. Ian, no worries, man. Palace, Leicester are must-win games. I agree. No team has lost more away games in 2022 than West Ham. Thank you very much for enlightening me on that. I'm depressed now after you've reminded me of our past managers. CM, I do apologise, mate. West Ham history lesson there for you. You know what I'm saying? I warned everyone about Moyes' big mistake having him as our manager. Now, I'll leave that final comment there for Eastside Views. You know what I'm saying? Eastside Views, you may be right, but let's hope you're wrong come the next two games. If Moyes can sort this out, he will have a pass until the new year, until we get to January, where maybe we might get some players in to help us become better. If he doesn't, then Eastside Views will be right, and he could be at the door before the new year. Whatever happens, we will see. Please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. And if you want to become a member, become a member. You'll be entered into the draw twice for the two shirts. The draw is basically going to happen after the Leicester game, which is the final game of for West Ham before Christmas. So yeah, be there for that, and you will be drawn out of the hat basically. Anyway, have a good Monday. Happy Halloween to everyone all around the world, and I will see you again in the next one. Peace.
There it is. I've never found a love like this.